Our first speaker from the floor tonight is the gentleman in the cap, speaking in favour of the motion.
Oh, Alessio! My good friend!
3 minutes, sir.
My name? Here! Yes! My name is Harmony Mackendale. From my clothing, you have probably guessed that I am a soldier. Well, I was a soldier. I am one of the few remaining survivors of the horrific Jerso-Albastrian conflict of 1965. 1864. I'd like to take you all on a walk. Let's go for a walk, shall we? No? How about a walk back in time? On this walk, we see a young man in the prime of his life, blessed with the Albastrian good looks of his father and the bovine charisma of his mother, along with a thriving sweatwood business. He had the world at his feet. What more could a young person want or dream of? Well, I'll tell you this. That dream was to become a nightmare in the blink of an eye. Sirens and shouts awoke this boy one morning to find his homeland under siege. The sound of high-tech Jersian stealth planes drowned out the cries of Alabastrian children in the streets. Something stirred in this boy, and he knew what he had to be done. He grabbed his hat, his cloak, and his trident, and he hit the streets. He was out the door, maybe never to return again. But this young boy was not the only one to feel this compulsion of sorts. Dozens of young Albastrians ran through the streets to the barracks so they could join the fight post.
Yes, get on with it.
Shut up! Our young hero joined the long queue of boys, eager to engage the enemy. But this was where fate was to intervene in the cruelest of ways. While holding his place in the queue, a rogue gust of wind blew the feather right from his hat, aloft on the dirty floor. As he scurried along to the inner floor in an attempt to recapture his precious feather, he inadvertently wound up in the queue to join the Jersian army, which was conveniently located right alongside the other queue. Having retrieved the wandering feather, he arose to find himself on the front line of the Jersian army, rifle in hand, covered in blood and cow's milk. Ladies and gentlemen, that young man is sadly no more. For he is now the relatively old man that stands before you today, forever scarred by the wounds of the horrific Jerso-Albastrian War. Let me ask you this, good people. Have you ever killed one of your own countrymen with the butt of a rifle in the style of a trident? No! Because I have! And it's not as fun as it might sound! How can anyone try to justify a war where men armed with nothing but feathered hats and tridents are slaughtered in their thousands by sophisticated weapons of mass destruction? Shut up! How can anyone justify a war where simple farmers wiped out by simple farmers from another country who happen to have guns and tanks just to get their greedy hands on sweatwood and aluminium?
Excuse me now.
And tell me this, good people, who can justify a war where rogue gusts of wind blow feathers from young boys' hats, which causes them to inadvertently become members of the invading forces and have them killing mostly women and children with rifles in the style of tridents?
opposition is Aoife Cahill, speaking, opposing the motion. Yes? Yes? I said I'd start picking people. Don't worry, I've got more picks. Anyone else, while we have a break in the festivities, is there anyone who would like to indicate a preference, pro or proposition or opposition? Yes, again? Proposition again, I take it, or no opposition this time?
Forget it.
Okay. Anyone before I start picking people? Yes, we have a proposition, thank you, sir. Anyone else can be encouraged before? Okay, Aoife, you have 3 minutes.
I believe our esteemed colleague was somewhat misguided in his analysis of the situation. Not your good self, of course, dear sir. Where, in fact, true, the Alabastrians were indeed armed with only tridents, or rather rifle butts shaped similarly to tridents. They were, in fact, not actually dealing with weapons of mass destruction per se. You'll see what actually worked.
Nice!
Good, sir.
Order up the back.
What actually occurred in the conflict, as it were, was a superhuman race of a bovine and human combination. We like to refer to them in Jersey as boho humanus. The boho humanus, actually, as opposed to large-scale flight instruments like aeroplanes and the like with bombs, were foot soldiers in the conflict. They invaded the country, granted, to gain access to the sweaty wood and aluminium deposits, but I think sharing is caring, it's only fair. And since the Jersians are, of course, a superior race in terms of culture and knowledge and...
Yeah, nicer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good sir. You must surely agree with me, the New Jersians are actually superior. Given, for example...
New Jersians? New Jersians?
Yes, Alabaster.
You mean Jersians?
Well, sir.
Mohicans are the most powerful race of the earth, and I would never have an
Sir, if you would allow me to continue, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Keep the lady time.
Thank you. The New Jersians, and perhaps there's a fox pair on my part, but the New Jersians merely as a reference to the united front of the Alabastrians and the Jersians. So I propose, sir, that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and you, a feather in your hat, was merely a symbol of your insanity.